Okay, good evening, everyone. As we learn the Mishna Yomis in the first parak of Meila, finishing, believe it or not, already the first parak with Mishna Gimel and Mishna Daled, sponsored by the Fisher family, the Nishmas Basi Bas Robert, Shlomo ben Avraham Alevi, Perel Bas Ruven, also the Nishmas Dav ben Chaim, Lefru Shalem, for Yomis ben Chai Sar, Yaakov ben Basi Aleh, for the exclusive of Avraham ben Yom Benish ben Malki Hudis, by Yod Klugman and family, also the Lefru Shalema for Avigdor Ayah ben Rifkin, the Baschai Sarah, Chana ba Shashabina, Dvar Shashabina, Rivka ba Shira Leah, Mishmeh ben Esther Fadl, Rachel ba Sarah, Aaron ben Sarah, Nachman Yaakov ben Sarah. They should all have a refush. Meir ben Chai Sarah. They should all have a refush Shalema b'Sayich Shachar Yisrael. Now, a Murei Kachim Kalim. Parak Aleph Mishnah Gimel. A Murei Kachei Kalim, the sacrificial portions of Kachim Kalim. Now remember, Kachim Kalim, the sacrificial portions, do not have Meila until after Zrika. So a Murei Kachei Kalim, Sheyotzu Lifnei Zrika's Dam. Oh, they become disqualified by being taken outside. Now you bring it back in, and you do the Zrika. Rebbe Eliezer, since they became disqualified by being taken outside, the Zrika doesn't bring Meila upon them. And even if you do one of the four Avodas Adam with a machshava to eat it after its time, or smoke it up after its time, ve'ein chayavim alav mishum pigel or noisa v'tameh, because it only becomes pigel if everything else was done correctly. Since it was disqualified by Yaitse, it can't become pigel. And it can't become also with nicer. Rabbi Kiva Aimer, now here Rabbi Kiva will be consistent the way we learned in Mishnah Beis. It's talking about where a kezayis of the Emurim stayed inside. And then the rest of the Emurim you took outside and you brought it back in. But Rabbi Kiva holds of Migu that the Zrika helps for the kezayis that was still inside. It helps for everything else as well. Rabbi Kiva Aimer Mayalam Behen. Since the Zrika helps for the kezayis that was inside, it helps also for everything that was taken outside and brought back in. And then the chayavan aleim mishum pigel noiser v'tamei, and it's locked in also to the yisur of pigel noiser and tamei. Now Mishnah Daled points out the difference between Kachei Kachim and Kachim Kalim. You see, Kachei Kachim is Kachei Lashem, like a Chatas, an Ashim. There's Meila right away. If Ruvain says this should be a Chatas, this should be an Ashim, there's Meila right away on both the sacrificial portions and the meat. When they do the Zrika actually has a lenient side, because the Zrika takes off the Meila from the meat, which can now be eaten by the male Kahana. So Maisig Damim B'Kachei Kachim, the act of the blood, the sprinkling, by Kachei Kachim Lohakel Ulahachma, it has a lenient side and a stringent side. But by Kachim Kalim before Zrika, nothing has Meila. After Zrika, the Emurim have Meila. So B'Kachim Kalim Kulan Lahachmer, there's only a side of Chumrah. Ketzad Kachei Kachim, L'fnei Zrika Stamim, everything has Meila. Meilam Be'emurim Ubabasa, there's Meila by the sacrificial portions, by the meat. La'acha Zrika Stamim, after the Zrika, Meilam Be'emurim, there's Meila by the Emurim, the Ein Meilam Babasa. Then there's no Meila anymore by the meat. Now, both for the meat and the sacrificial portions, if he has a machshava of pigel, it locks it in. Alzev, both for the emur and the meat. Chayavim mishum pigel, and if it's left over, it's time noiser v'tamei. And if eaten with tumas aguf, there's kares for tamei. However, Bekachim Kalim, there's no angle of the Kachim Kalim that the Zrika makes more lenient. Because remember, by Kachim Kalim, before the Zrika, both the meat and the sacrificial portions were permitted. Or Bekachim Kalim, Kulon Lahachmeh. Just the Zrika now makes the Meila by the Emurim, by the sacrificial portions. Ketzat. Kachim Kalim with Zrika Stam, Emayel and Lei by Emurim, V'lei Babasar. There's no Meila by the Emurim or the Basar. La'achas Zrika Stam, Emayel and Emurim. Now the Zrika adds Meila to the sacrificial portions, to the kidneys, the lobe of the liver, the fat. Ve'emayel and Babasar, there's still no Meila by the meat. Alzev, both for the meal and the meat, the Zrika allows it to become pigel and have a chiyuv of noiser and tumah. Chayav mishum pigel noiser v'tameh. Nimsa ma'aseh dam b'kachei kachim goes both ways. Lahakil, because it causes the meat to become permitted. Ulahachmir, it causes it to be locked into pigel. Or b'kachim kalim, kuloi lahachmir. There is no side of leniency by kachim kalim. The Zrika doesn't permit anything because the meat was permitted all the time. It only brings Meila on the Emurim and locks in the Pigel Naisa V'tameh. We want to again remind you about dailygiving.org and that we are looking for a sponsor for our Haggadah Shir this week, 718-916-3100. Thank you for joining us and have a wonderful evening.